beyond the sixth sense.
My name is Samantha. For as long as I can remember, I have lived between two worlds. One is the world we all know, the world of people, cities, responsibilities, and everyday life. The other is far more mysterious, a world of memories, emotions, and souls that sometimes leave traces behind. When I meditate, I can occasionally sense things that cannot be explained, fragments of forgotten stories, echoes of events long buried, and sometimes, when a soul is desperate enough, a message. After solving several high-profile cases, my name had begun spreading far beyond my city. People called me from all over the country. Most of the calls turned out to be misunderstandings. Some were ordinary tragedies. Others were simply people searching for hope. But one phone call would lead me into one of the darkest investigations of my life. A case that forced me to question how much evil can exist behind ordinary faces. A case that I later named The Demons. The call came from a massive metropolitan city several states away, a city famous for its opportunities and infamous for its problems. Millions of people lived there. Towering buildings stretched into the sky. Traffic filled the streets day and night. The city never truly slept. But with such a large population came endless challenges: crime, pollution, poverty, income inequality, housing shortages, water scarcity, gang activity, kidnappings, violence, and an overwhelmed police system struggling to keep up. One issue had become particularly alarming: missing people. Every month, new posters appeared: missing women, missing children, missing homeless individuals, missing vulnerable people. Police officers tried their best. Every missing person report was investigated. Searches were conducted. Witnesses were interviewed. Evidence was collected. But with thousands of active cases and limited resources, many investigations eventually stalled. Files piled up. Cases went cold. Families were left waiting. That was the city from which I received the call. The caller introduced himself as Eric. He was 28 years old. His voice sounded exhausted, broken, hopeless. His wife, Tina, had been missing for 10 days. They had been married for only a year. According to Eric, she was the love of his life. The way he spoke about her left no doubt. He adored her. 10 days earlier, they had gone grocery shopping together at a crowded local market. It was a Sunday evening. The market was packed with people: families, couples, street vendors, tourists, children running between stalls. After finishing their shopping, Tina wanted to spend some time exploring the market. She enjoyed walking through the crowded streets and looking at small shops. They had done this many times before. Eric wanted to return home to watch a football match, so they agreed to separate for a few hours. Tina would walk home afterward. At 7 o'clock, Eric returned to their apartment. Everything seemed normal. At 9:39 p.m., after the match ended, he called Tina. The call went directly to voicemail. At first, he wasn't concerned. Perhaps her phone battery had died. Perhaps she had forgotten to charge it. But after repeated calls, panic began to grow. He searched the surrounding area. He called friends. He visited places she liked. Nothing. Several hours later, he filed a missing person report. At the police station, something disturbed him deeply: the bulletin board. It was covered with photographs: women, children, teenagers, faces staring back from hundreds of missing person notices, many from his own city. Days passed. No news, no clues, no answers. Then something happened that changed everything. 2 days before calling me, Eric ordered food delivery: a burger and a soft drink. Nothing unusual. While eating, he noticed something tiny embedded in the food. At first, he thought it was plastic. Then he looked closer. It was a tiny fragment of an artificial fingernail. The design immediately caught his attention, a blue star pattern. Tina loved decorative nails. She frequently visited nail salons, and according to Eric, she had recently worn a nearly identical design. The restaurant apologized. They explained that employees wore gloves. The fragment must have entered accidentally. They offered compensation. But Eric couldn't shake the feeling. Something inside him kept whispering the same thought. Tina is trying to tell me something. That feeling eventually led him to me. As I listened, I wasn't sure what to think. The nail fragment could have been coincidence. Blue star designs were common, very common. Yet something about Eric's conviction disturbed me. He wasn't looking for revenge. He wasn't accusing anyone. He simply wanted answers. I agreed to investigate. Traveling there immediately wasn't possible, so I asked Eric to send me photographs. Lots of them. Pictures of himself and Tina, vacations, birthdays, wedding photographs, daily life, anything. He sent hundreds. I also asked for photographs of the nail fragment. Then I began gathering information. By this point in my career, I had developed contacts within law enforcement. I called several officers, verified the case, verified Eric's story. Everything checked out. Police had thoroughly investigated him. No motive, no suspicious activity, no evidence. Nothing suggesting he had harmed his wife. Friends described the marriage as loving. Family members agreed. Nobody suspected Eric. During those conversations, another detail emerged. 20 missing person cases had been reported through the same police station within 2 months. Most victims were women and children. Unofficially, the number was likely much higher. Homeless individuals often disappeared without anyone reporting them. Other police districts across the city reported similar patterns. No bodies, no suspects, no explanations, only disappearances. I began creating a map, pinning locations, organizing names, studying patterns. A disturbing trend emerged. Most victims belonged to vulnerable groups: women, children, homeless individuals, people less likely to fight back, people less likely to attract immediate public attention. Something felt wrong. Very wrong. That night, I spread Eric's photographs across my table. The images were beautiful. A newly married couple, laughing, traveling, buying furniture for their first apartment, celebrating birthdays, dreaming about the future. Nothing looked unusual. Nothing suggested danger. Then I placed the photograph of the nail fragment beside them, a tiny blue star. My logical mind fought back. Maybe it belonged to a restaurant employee. Maybe it was unrelated. Maybe Eric was desperate and searching for meaning where none existed. Yet another thought kept returning. What if it wasn't coincidence? I closed my eyes and began meditating. I focused on Tina, Eric, their apartment, their wedding photographs, their smiles, their dreams. And finally, the tiny blue star nail fragment. The meditation began normally. Then everything changed. Darkness. A crushing darkness unlike anything I had experienced before. The images arrived rapidly, fragmented, chaotic, terrifying. Crowded streets, neon lights, rain-soaked pavement, fear. Then industrial buildings, metal doors, large refrigerators, hidden rooms. The smell was overwhelming. Not physical, emotional. A feeling of despair. I saw terrified faces, dozens of them, then hundreds. Suddenly, my vision snapped away. I opened my eyes, gasping. My entire body was shaking. Sweat covered my skin. I ran to the bathroom and became physically ill. I started to vomit. Something was terribly wrong. The next morning, I began making calls, using every contact I had. Eventually, I reached senior officials within the city's police department. I described what I had seen, not as supernatural certainty, but as investigative intuition. I gave them 3 locations, 3 industrial facilities, 3 slaughterhouses located in high-crime areas. I requested simultaneous inspections. To their credit, they listened. The raids were organized. Multiple teams moved in at the same time. At first, everything appeared normal. Beef, pork, legitimate processing equipment, proper documentation, nothing suspicious. Then investigators noticed irregularities, hidden storage areas, locked rooms, spaces not listed on official blueprints. The deeper they searched, the stranger things became. Evidence began appearing, suspicious materials, unregistered storage sections, signs that something had been concealed. The workers were detained, the facilities secured, samples collected. Then the laboratory reports arrived. The results stunned everyone involved. Evidence confirmed that illegal biological materials had been mixed into processed meats. The operation was far more disturbing than anyone imagined. Multiple arrests followed immediately. As interrogations continued, the truth slowly emerged. A criminal network had been operating in secret. Different groups handled different tasks. Some identified vulnerable victims around the town. They mostly used to target women or children, as they are weak and less likely to resist. Some carried out kidnappings and used to murder these victims brutally. Others managed transportation of these illegal meat to 3 slaughterhouses of the town, and then processed these meat with chemicals and mixed them with legal meat like beef or pork. They used to supply these minced ground meat to different restaurants. The restaurants had no idea about these things. The investigation expanded rapidly. Additional properties were searched. One abandoned building eventually became a major focus. Authorities believed it had been used as a central location for criminal activity. What investigators uncovered there connected numerous missing person cases. For years, the organization had hidden behind legitimate businesses. Inspections never uncovered the truth because the illegal activity remained carefully concealed. Now, everything was collapsing. Arrests multiplied, evidence accumulated, witnesses cooperated. The city watched in shock. News coverage dominated every channel. Families who had spent years searching for loved ones finally began receiving answers. Painful answers, but answers nonetheless. And then came the question that haunted me most. Does cannibalism exist? Question about nail fragment. How did it end up in Eric's meal? No investigation ever fully explained it. Maybe it was chance. Maybe it wasn't. The odds seemed impossibly small. Out of thousands of customers, thousands of meals, thousands of products, that fragment somehow reached the husband searching desperately for his missing wife. Was it coincidence? Or was it one final message? A final attempt by Tina to guide someone toward the truth? I don't know, and perhaps I never will. When police finally explained everything to Eric, he broke down. He cried for hours. His world had been shattered. Yet, despite the grief, he thanked everyone involved, because uncertainty had ended. The truth, however painful, had finally surfaced. The case became national news. The criminal network was dismantled. The arrests continued for months, and countless investigations were reopened. For many families, justice had arrived too late, but it arrived nonetheless. As for me, the case changed something inside me. It reminded me how precious human life truly is, how easily vulnerable people can be forgotten, and how important it is to keep searching for answers, even when hope seems impossible. After the story became public, my reputation grew again. More calls arrived, more mysteries, more people seeking help. But among all the investigations I have ever handled, this remains one of the darkest. Not because of ghosts, not because of spirits, but because the true monsters were human beings. And sometimes, human beings can be far more terrifying than anything that exists in the shadows. A few weeks later, another phone call arrived. A strange one. A call involving a hospital. A patient who claimed to see people who didn't exist, and a series of deaths that nobody could explain. At first, it sounded impossible, but impossible cases tend to find me. And that investigation would become my next story. Beyond the Sixth Sense. Next episode coming soon.
Beyond the sixth sense. Samantha closes her eyes, slow breath, sitting still in the dark. She can feel them, cold air, sudden chill. Beyond the sixth sense, she knows, she knows. Beyond the sixth sense, where every secret flows. Beyond the sixth, beyond the sixth, beyond the sixth sense. She feels them drawing near. Samantha sees and beyond the sixth. Beyond the sixth.